Brothers and sisters, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I've been a huge fan of TED Talks ever since the first ones got uploaded back in 2007 and 8. And I've always wanted to be on the red carpet. Never got an opportunity till now. I was asked to coach prospective TEDx speakers, one from a school and one from a university, and still the opportunity awaited me. And then my son got an opportunity, not once, twice, 3 times, and the 4th time, and I was burning. When do I get a chance? And then Tejal calls and she says, we would really appreciate, it would be great. And I really told her, my God, where were you all this while? Yeah. So thank you, it's a great feeling. That's one thing off my bucket list. Brothers and sisters, let me start by inviting you to read a few sets of statements that I want to show on screen. Okay? You have to read them silently in your minds. Can you do that? Yep. Yeah? Wonderful. The first one. The second one. The third one. And the 4th one. Okay. Now when you read these statements, I'm sure you wouldn't have felt any difference. But as a psychologist, if I had the right equipment with me, I could have shown that your physiology was different while you were reading them, your facial gestures were different, the tone with which you read them in your minds was different, and even your heart rate was different. And do you know why? Because you believe these statements are true. You know they are true. And you believe those statements are untrue. You know they are untrue. And these 2 sets of statements, they live in totally different parts of your mind. If you may, everything that you believe about yourself and others and the world in general, what you believe is true, they believe in a country called Trueistan in your mind. Okay? And that's the flag of Trueistan. And these are the citizens of Trueistan. And they all carry a passport with the same color. And everything that you believe is untrue, they live in a world called Falseistan. And you are the king of Trueistan. And as the king of Trueistan, what you really want to do is, you want to protect your subjects, you want to protect your citizens. So if anyone says something against your citizens, you reject them outright. And you spend a lot of time and energy on making sure that your citizens grow and your citizens develop. And the greatest boundary, the most formidable boundary, we're talking about boundaries here, exists between these 2 words. The boundary between Trueistan and Falseistan. And let me repeat, any citizen of Trueistan, things that you believe is true about yourself, the world and others, you will do your best to protect and defend it. So what, you may ask? Suppose you believe that there's someone in your campus or in your office who always criticizes you. You believe that this person always criticizes you. So apparently, this citizen lives in Trueistan and you will do everything possible to protect him, right? Now just imagine that one day this guy comes up and pays you a compliment. Sangeeth, you're presenting quite well. You are not even going to hear his statement. Well, people around you might hear him, but you will never hear him. Why? Because you believe that he's always criticizing you. So whatever good comes from him is bounced off automatically. Now let's say he gets pretty desperate and he starts walking all around you, complimenting you. You look good, you speak well, you're a nice guy. Definitely you're not going to accept it. So what do? Well, you look at him and say, oh, maybe he's being sarcastic. Oh no, maybe he wants to build me up first and then destroy me. Or then probably you think, oh, maybe he needs something from me. Now the first time I started reading about the human mind, I said, my God, this is spooky. Why is your mind behaving like this? Just because you believe something is true? Why are you doing everything possible to defend it? Now, if you think that this is spooky, let me tell you that it gets spookier. Suppose you were told when you were a child that you are always making mistakes, or someone criticized you heavily as a child, and you started believing that I'm up to no good. You know what happens when you grow up, guys? When you grow up, because of that belief, and because you're the king of Trueistan and you want to defend that belief, subconsciously you start doing weird things. You start turning late for meetings. You start making mistakes. You don't honor deadlines. And obviously, people will start criticizing you and you'll think, oh, see, I'm right all the while. Now just imagine that a new neighbor comes into your apartment building, okay? And I don't know why, for some godforsaken reason, you believe that this guy is inconsiderate, okay? And of course he sees you in the corridor and he greets you, hi, and you're definitely not going to see him because you believe he's inconsiderate. And after 3 or 4 days, suppose he has a party at home and he plays some music, you're thinking, oh my God, he's always playing music like this. He's playing music apparently to irritate me, and if I go and ask him, he's definitely not going to lower the volume. So you go to his house and you bang on the door. And then things get worse. Early morning rush, you're waiting in the elevator, you see this guy running and coming, can you hold the elevator for me? And you think he's doing it every day, he's doing it on purpose, and you close the elevator door. If you can wait and pause for a second in the car park, you can let him pass, but you screech out. And eventually what happens? The guy says, that's it, enough is enough. And he starts behaving in a nasty manner to you. And you say, see, I've been right all the while. We call it see, do, get. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But all that is fine, brothers and sisters, as long as it's a small private affair between you and your neighbor. But suppose you start having generalized beliefs like this about groups of people. That nationality, oh, they're bad. People belonging to this religion, oh, all of them are nasty. Now your thinking error becomes a grave mental sickness. And you know what you'll do? You'll start moving around with people who are similar to you. People who think like you, pray like you, eat like you, believe like you. And then you start building boundaries around yourself and looking at people outside these boundaries with prejudiced eyes. And this is a very sad position to be. You know why? Because you make your prejudices come true. Brothers and sisters, let me now present the villains of my story, okay? The boundary builders. These are the guys who come and whisper to you, they should not be trusted. They are nasty. They are plotting against you. Stick to your own. Why do they do that? Because they want to be in power. They want to control you, because every time they say these things, your fear centers get activated, and then your thinking brain switches off. And when your thinking brain switches off, of course they can cheat, they can lie, they can indulge in favoritism, and you wouldn't question them because, oh my God, we are in danger, and you are our protectors. Brothers and sisters, boundaries must fall. Boundaries must be demolished, and that's the reason I invite you all to be boundary busters. How can you become a boundary buster? Very simple. Work on your diversity quotient. Can I request you all to close your eyes for a second? Wonderful. I want you to think of your closest 5 friends. People whom you confide in. People with whom you move around all the time. Your closest friends, 5 of them. Open your eyes, please. Let's quickly do a diversity quotient check. Think in terms of nationality. Are they all from the same nationality? If they are, your numerator is 1 nationality, and your denominator is 5, because we're talking about 5 friends. That means your diversity quotient is 20%. And that's the lowest value anyone can have. That's a pathetic place to be. A very measly number. On the other hand, if it's 100%, 5 close friends, 5 different nationalities, amazing. 100% is your DQ. Think about religion. Are they all from the same religion? Again, 20%, a bad place to be. 100% an amazing place to be. And brothers and sisters, if at all you come in the 20% bracket, then unfortunately you've got boundaries within you. And these boundaries are manifesting around you and preventing people who are different than you from coming inside. Now some of you may ask me, what's the big deal, Sangeeth? What's wrong if my diversity quotient is 20%? Well, let me quote research from LinkedIn. LinkedIn says professionals with a higher diversity quotient get better jobs quicker, get their questions answered faster, and they get better referrals. Look at this data. Medical team with more diversity had lesser chances to be sued. Detective pairs with diversity solved more cases faster. Talking about organizations, there's a group called Diversity Inc. They picked companies with the highest level of diversity, and they found that these organizations outperform their peers in terms of stock performance on a 1, 2, and 5-year basis. Amazing. And if you want to talk about countries, this is a study from the University of Wharton, which says a country that honors diversity and embraces diversity does better in global competitiveness, in economic performance, and human development. So it goes without saying, higher your diversity quotient, better your chances of succeeding. So this is the message that I want to give to my young brothers and sisters and to my peers as well. There are villains out there, and these villains will whisper, they must not be trusted. They are bad. They are plotting against you. Stick to your own. But if you believe that you must succeed, if you believe that your community and your country must get ahead, then you must embrace diversity. How can you do that? Very simple. Work on your diversity quotient. You can become a boundary buster by trying to mingle with people who are very different from you. Go out and share your life experiences with them. Share your hopes and fears with them. And automatically you'll find boundaries crumbling. Let me tell you a personal experience. As a speaker, I was once invited to speak at the St. Thomas Church in Dubai. And this was in the month of Ramadan. And I was invited there at 6:30 in the evening. So I told them, I have to break my fast, so I cannot join you at that time. They said, don't worry sir, we'll organize it. And a sumptuous iftar was organized inside the pastor's room. And we sat and broke our fast. And then they had a brand new musalla kept inside the chapel where I prayed. There was this close friend of mine, let me drop his name here, Satish, who invited me for an Ona Sadhya, which is a traditional festival from down south of India. And I told him, this is Ramadan again, I cannot have Sadhya for lunch. He said, we'll have it at night. I said, Satish, come on, you can't break your traditions for that. He said, no, come along. We started with dates, had an amazing Sadhya for iftar, and then right next to his puja room, we knelt down to pray. Brothers and sisters, when you really go and bond with people who are not similar, the feeling that you have within you is amazing. And my family, my wife, little Jahan is here in Amman, we said, we have to pass this feeling around. We would be selfish to keep this feeling to ourselves. So we decided to create a small movement 6 years back, and we said, how can we get youngsters to enjoy diversity? So we decided, we didn't use the Instagram voting method, but we decided to celebrate Onam, Ramadan and Christmas together. And how to do that? We would go into the labor camps and serve food to the laborers and celebrate these festivals together. Can you believe that? There were young friends who have never had iftar before, and they were sitting down in a masjid and having iftar. There were young friends who had never had an Onisatya before, or people who had not known the spirit of Christmas before. And we went there and we told these brothers in the labor camps, it is a holy day, not mine, but yours and ours. And they were not compromising their core values or traditions, but recognizing that deep down, we are all the same. And do you know what we decided to call this movement? We called it Inditwa, to honor the amazing country that we come from, which has always welcomed people with open arms and open hearts. In fact, the favorite bhajan of the founding father, Bapuji says, Ishwar Allah Tere Naam, Sabko Sammati De Bhagwan, which says, we call you by different names, my Lord, but at the end, we are all your kids. Please take care of all of us. Save all of us. The project grew. Every year we started getting more students, 10, 100, thousands. We started getting organizations to support us. And last year, my son was honored with the Legacy Award by the Royal Highnesses William and Harry at Buckingham Palace. And the message was, you were spreading social harmony through service. And brothers and sisters, sitting in the palace there, little Jahan was with me, and watching him standing there and speaking about harmony, I was extremely happy. I was extremely happy. But I was happier because we could take a handful of youngsters like you and liberate you from the tyranny of your own boundaries. The boundaries that your parents and Uncle Ali's and people around you have given you. We were able to set them free. And we know for certain that they will succeed and they'll take their country and their community to greater heights. So let me leave all you youngsters with this message. The message of Inditwa. And that message is, there are villains. And these villains will tell you, they cannot be trusted. They are bad. They are plotting against you. Stick to your own. To them, with your heads held high, say, shh, step away, for we are busy busting boundaries. Thank you and Jai Hind.